Hi everyone, a very warm welcome to Career with Kalpi. I hope all of you are keeping safe. The first session was on sales and marketing with Neha Agrawal, and today's session is on a career transition from engineering to journalism and communication with Kritika Kulshrestha. Kritika has 8+ years of experience in communication. She's part of a team that operates in over 25 countries and leads all of the company's global external and internal communications and public relation activities. She has held multiple roles at content marketing agencies, higher education institutions, news publications, and technology consulting firms. She earned a master's degree in journalism from University of Texas at Austin and a bachelor's degree in computer science and technology from India. She loves new connections and new stories. Hi, Kritika. Thank you very much for being a guest speaker today. I'm very happy to talk to you.
Thanks, Kalpi.
So, Kritika, broadly, I want to discuss with you today about your transition journey, from engineering to journalism and corporate communications, the challenges that you faced. How can our audience deal with that? And the skill sets required to excel in the field, advice to be successful in the content and communications ecosystem, and a little bit about the industries and the roles available. So
Right.
let's begin with your just your career journey, because I'm also very interested to know how did you, from an engineering degree and that too in computer and science, how did you kind of decide to get into journalism, and how has it been for you so
Yeah,
far?
sure. So engineering, like most Indian parents, they want their kids to be either engineers or doctors. For my parents are both doctors, and they never wanted me to get into medicine. And I was also never interested in becoming a doctor. Engineering seemed like the next best option because, once you get a science related degree, you can then go into the arts. You can then pursue your passion and do whatever you want after that. So I was always good at science in high school and in college. And so I just decided, okay, let's just get, a BTech degree in computer science. So that's what I went ahead with. After that, my first campus job was with Deloitte Consulting. So I worked with them as a quality assurance professional doing software testing. I did that for about 2 years, but by the second year, my heart wasn't in it. I knew that this is not something I want to do long term. And at the same time, there were a lot of my colleagues who wanted to get an MBA, because again, they're all done engineering and they all wanted to get an MBA degree. So I felt, okay, maybe I should also go ahead and do an MBA. But I really wasn't sure as to why I was doing an MBA. I was at the crossroads where I was still trying to figure out, okay, what next? Because up until that point, everything was, a very seamless transition. You do your 10th, you do your 12th, then you get into engineering because you're great at science. Then what? Then I got the campus job as well. But then after that point, it was more about, okay, what do I want to do? And so I started thinking about it. I used to write a bit of poetry, back in high school. Some of it was even published. So I liked writing poetry, and then I liked writing also. So, but I did not know, this was back in 2012. So I did not even know, how lucrative it would be and what kind of writing career did I want to have. I did not want to become an author. I can't lock myself in my room and just spend hours writing a book. That was something that I couldn't do. So what was the next thing out there? So then I started freelancing within Deloitte for the internal newsletters. So the ones that go out to all the employees, they profile the employees. So I started writing for them. And then that sort of gave me the confidence, okay, this is something I like to do. Can I pursue it outside? So I quit Deloitte in 2012, and it was just a leap of faith. I had no real plan. MBA was out of the way. I had given all the entrance exams, but I finally figured out, after talking to multiple people, that do an MBA only if you want to do in marketing or finance, and if you want to progress in the same career. Like if you want to switch careers, it's a little hard and it's not feasible to do an MBA. So I just, after a lot of research, I thought, okay, let me take a gap year. Let me try, freelancing. And again, at that point, LinkedIn also was like very young. LinkedIn was the main resource for people. Now you have so many WhatsApp groups, you have so many communities, you have so many networks to help people. This wasn't there back in 2012. So I literally had to go to LinkedIn and find people, just talk to them, look at their profiles, see what they did. So I started understanding more and more about content marketing, content writing, what were the careers that were out there. And then I started freelancing with a couple of publications. So I did an internship with Youth Ki Awaaz, with the Views paper. Now it doesn't even exist, but one organization was called the Views paper, with Youth Leader magazines. I started interviewing people, started writing their stories. So that was my first taste of journalism. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed interviewing people, hearing about their stories, and then, just writing about their life journey. And that sort of pushed me to get a master's in journalism. I thought if I get a professional degree, that will give me some validation. It will also back me up. Whenever I look for jobs and I look for other internships, having a degree would make a lot of sense. So, and, I just wanted to go to the US because for some reason, everybody at that point of time was like, okay, just go to US. Canada also was not that big at that point of time. So, and I had family there. So it made sense to kind of move to the US because I had family, I had a lot of friends there. So it just made more sense to get a degree from the US. And so that's how I got a degree in journalism from there.
Got it. And I think soon after that, you ended up in content marketing with a media agency and then a financial advisory firm. So, what was that transition like?
Yeah, so I think journalism was great in the US. I did a lot of business reporting, worked at the campus publication. So I got a ton of experience back there. And then, because of visa issues, I moved back. It was hard to get an H-1B visa in my field. So I just moved back in 2016. And that was the point where content marketing was booming in India. There were so many agencies, there were so many people looking for content writers. And so that's how I got introduced to Zirka Digital Solutions. And so it's a digital company. They do a lot of branded content development. They work with different kinds of brands. So I started doing content writing with them, and I did that for about 2 years. So again, it was a very different kind of role. I got to work on marketing collaterals, build websites, work on website content. So I got a very different kind of experience over there. So that was what introduced me to marketing and working in a media agency in India. So, I learned a lot over there, and I worked with them till about 2018. And then after that, I was just looking out for more roles and different, for me, it's always about getting challenged at every stage. And if I feel like I've reached a plateau where there's nothing more to learn or nothing more where, I can contribute, then I feel that I have to move on to the next exciting thing in my career. Then Duff and Phelps happened, and it's a financial advisory firm, and they had a corporate communications role. So it was exciting, working with a global team. We are like over 3,000 employees globally, and I get to work with stakeholders located in different countries. So it's not restricted only to India. So that was what excited me about the role. And so also just the opportunity to work on different pieces of corporate communication. So that's how I went from journalism to content marketing to corporate communication.
Awesome. That's a very, very interesting story. I didn't know, the entire picture behind it. And I agree with you that being in India, I mean, engineering and MBA kind of, even if subconsciously, becomes like a natural path for somebody who's been doing good academically, has been interested in mathematics and so on, because I took that path myself. So I can vouch for a lot of people who do that. Yeah, so moving on, another thing that I would want to know is that in content marketing and in communications, to excel in these areas, what does one aim for, say, every 2-3 years? And what does one do differently than others to excel in these fields?
Right. So I think I can talk about content marketing and corporate communication separately because they're separate fields. Content marketing, you're working in an agency. So if you want to work in a media agency, you have to be, agile. You have to adapt to your different clients' needs. You get to work with different kinds of clients, different kinds of brands. So that is the exciting part of it. It's also challenging. Then meeting clients' demands. You may have to like stay back on a weekend and work. Work might come in at 5 in the evening, right? So can you manage all of that? Do you have the resources, the mental stamina to kind of keep up with all of that, right?
I see.
Content marketing at the same time is also, it's booming. There is so much competition now. You have so many agencies, you have so many different kinds of content out there floating on the internet. In fact, there is a lot of chaos, right? So how do you differentiate yourself when you're putting out a piece of content? How do you make it stand out from the rest of the content out there? Why should any consumer come and read your blog or your content,
Right.
right? So are you able to keep track of those outcomes? Are you able to measure the success of your content? Are people engaging with it? One of the things that I learned while I was working there was that, like so many things have changed that even the measurement has changed about content, right? Earlier, it was about how many likes you're getting on an Instagram post or, what are the impressions. But now it's more about engagement. Like, are people really engaging with your content? So you have to ensure that you're putting out quality content and keep up with the trends. Keep reading all the different blogs. You have so many different publications now. You have Exchange for Media, you have AFAX, you have so many, international publications. So read those blogs, keep abreast of the trends in the industry, and that's how you can stand out. As far as corporate communications is concerned, you're a critical component of the organization. In fact, now more than ever, you have to be a strong partner to human capital, right? Especially in times of COVID, right? Like you are trying to motivate your employees, you're trying to keep that multi-directional communication happening. You are trying to be more inclusive of employees no matter where they are, right? So you have to be mindful of all of these different things that are happening. So even communications as a field has become like, you have to be adaptable, to be agile. You have to be more empathetic
Right.
to the people that you're working with. And I think every communicator is super collaborative, because you're working with different functions. In my job, I'm working with the finance team on something. I'm working with marketing, the rest of my marketing colleagues. I'm working with human capital. We have a charitable foundation. So then working with the volunteers to kind of plan events. Now, this year we'll have to think of virtual events because usually we have
Right.
offline volunteering events. This year we'll have to think of something different. So constantly be innovating, constantly, be that support system to all of these different functions in your organization. So I would say agility and just being more empathetic and just being great at your job and being approachable. Like whoever, no matter who they are in the organization, should be able to work with you and get things done at the end of the day.
Right. I think you touched a lot on how does one work when they are in corporate communications. I am just a little bit more curious to know how does your typical day look like at corporate communications because I do not have much of an insight into what is the work like, what does one do day to day.
Right. So a typical day, I will have to be editing a lot of different kinds of collateral. So if we have a press release going out, maybe we're launching a product or we're launching a particular tool in a particular region. So then coordinating with PR agencies, kind of pitching this to them. So then working on press releases. At the same time, working on, white papers, any thought leadership articles that our practitioners want to put out there because we have a ton of experts in the financial advisory services field. So whether they are cyber experts, whether they are, risk and compliance experts, they are thought leaders in their field. They write a lot of articles. So then our job is to edit it, sort of proof it, ensure that it's, in accordance with our style, with our tone. And then we kind of pitch it to all of the different PR agencies who work with us. So it's a lot of editing, writing, coordinating with different people. So a lot of project management involved. So there are certain projects where I don't have to really do much except push people to get the job done. I have to keep following up with different stakeholders to ensure that, they are finishing their end of the job. And then I kind of help pull the project together. So it's just project management. And then, like I said, we have a charitable foundation. So then, planning volunteer events, working with the volunteers in the APAC region and kind of figuring out, okay, how do we plan the event and how many volunteers do we have and do we have enough t-shirts to send to them, so planning all of that as well.
Right.
So yeah, a lot of different pieces to the puzzle,
Got
which
it.
is what makes it interesting.
So, for example, in COVID situation, given everything is going to be virtual, you are also involved in the strategy of these events and figuring out what would be the innovative solutions to keep the communications going, but making all of it virtual, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Also, like, coordinating with leadership. So even during COVID, we kind of built an entire COVID resource center, very early into the lockdown. This was way back in March, April, when we realized that we had to give employees that kind of information and resource to go to. So we kind of built it up. We started organizing town halls with employees to keep them connected to leadership. So that's another critical component of the communications role. You're not just a facilitator. You're actually driving those conversations in your organization between all of these different stakeholders. So it's a very important role. So yeah.
got it. Very exciting. I know you've already touched upon this also a little bit, but I anyway ask this to everyone because I want to understand what are the most challenging situations that they have been in. How did they come out of it? And if there are any additional skill sets that they acquired to overcome them, so that people are already, or audience is already aware of the typical challenges in a particular field and they know how to, um, overcome those.
Right.
So for
Um,
corporate communication, especially.
yeah. So I can talk about even getting into corporate communications because
Yeah.
I think we're talking about transitions as well. So I think some of the early challenges that I faced, making that transition from a tech job to a communications related job was finding the right set of people, right?
Right.
How do you know whom to connect with or whom to network with? So at that point of time, I literally had to figure stuff out. I had to be very proactive. Nobody was going to come and hand me anything on a platter. I had to figure out and contact people on LinkedIn, reach out to them personally, have those one-on-one conversations so you understand more about what they're doing. And then you can make that transition. So I ended up talking to a lot of people before I made that transition. So I think those were the early challenges. It was back in 2012. Again, you didn't have so many networks. Now, even though you have the networks, you still need to have that trait in you, right? Like, are you proactive in reaching out to people and, finding out more about what they do, what they like, getting to know them more personally. And you should start doing this early on, even in communications. Now that I'm settled in my career, I still do that, but it's still challenging, right? You still need to set out that time to meet the right people. You need to build those relationships. You can't go up to someone one day and say, hey, I need a job or I need to make a career transition. I don't like my IT job. I want to get into, say, marketing, right? You can't do that out of the blue. You have to work at it every single day and constantly try and build those relationships with them. So that I would say is the challenging part where, you need to keep at it. We can get lazy. We may not feel like doing it, but I think it's really important to keep doing. In the communications role specifically, you have to work with multiple stakeholders, right? So I talked about collaboration earlier. So you have to be out there. You have to put yourself out there. You have to connect with every function in your organization. So I can't work in a silo. I can't just be working within my communications team and not worry about human capital or finance or any of the other functions. I need to be able to understand what their challenges are. I need to understand, say, what the IT guy is facing. He might be facing some issues because of which he can't deliver something to me
Yeah.
by a certain date, right?
Yeah.
So you need to understand what their challenges are, what their role requires. You might not understand everything about tech and finance or human capital, but you need to understand what kind of job they do, what kind of work they actually do. And that's
Yeah.
the only way you can help them. So you need to be like super alert to everything that's happening around you and sort of evolve, with the changing time. So if something like COVID happens, you need to adapt as an organization. You
Right.
need to think on your feet. and either be able to manage a crisis when it occurs, or be able to be proactive and say, okay, employees are going to face this. How do we manage it? How do we keep them motivated? How do we constantly keep them engaged during this time? Because everybody is working from home. So, what kind of activities can you do? So you need to think ahead, and you constantly need to keep doing that. So I think that is, I would say, an everyday challenge. We're constantly doing that. But I think that's what I love about the role, and about working in this industry. So I just love doing that.
Great. Thank you so much for that. Switching gears a little bit and moving on to the industry bit then, want to understand, because like we were discussing even before this call, how there is an information overload today, and people have access to so much of information. So what are the challenges that the industry in particular faces today, and how has that evolved over time? And I have another
Right.
question on industry as well, in terms of career opportunities for people, in journalism or in communications or in content marketing. What are those?
Yeah. So I'll talk about the industry challenges by the industry. So, like journalism, when I was working, it was already undergoing a massive shift. Today, if you see, you can consume news from everywhere. You don't need to subscribe to a New York Times or a Times of India. You can get your news from even WhatsApp. You can get your news from absolutely any social media platform, right? So the industry is also trying to deal with this. They are trying to innovate, which is why
Right.
many newspapers today have come up with content studios. Even they are getting into branded content development, where they do sponsored content. They are partnering with brands, and brands are sort of paying them to write content for them, right? So that is how the industry is evolving and adapting to the shifting things that are happening. Journalism, again, there are lots of opportunities. Like I said, you have LinkedIn is a great resource. You have a lot of other job related platforms as well. But I think LinkedIn for me has always worked as a very great tool in terms of understanding. Nowadays you have articles also on LinkedIn, and people are posting thought leadership content on there. So it's very easy to figure out what a person likes, doesn't like,
Yeah.
what are they doing in their industry. Are they very active on LinkedIn? And you can easily find that out, and you can see what are the different topics they're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So you can engage with them. So LinkedIn was a very great resource. Then as far as content marketing is concerned, again, because there's such a ton of content out there, every agency is trying to be more creative, more innovative in terms of what kind of ideas they're putting out there. So I remember when I used to work, for an insurance related company. So they always wanted their content to be different, because you have a ton of articles, blog posts out
Yeah.
there talking about why you should buy an insurance plan, and what is a term insurance, right? So we had to get more creative in terms of the headlines, in terms of the themes of the articles themselves. At the end of the day, you're communicating the same thing, that it's important to buy an insurance plan. But how do you say it in a more fun, more interactive way? How do you cater to millennials, right? To a younger audience? How do you educate them about something like insurance, which is very boring? How do you educate them? But they should be interested enough to go and click on an article.
Yeah.
So I think that is the challenge that creators are facing, agencies are facing. Now, of course, it's about how do you film a video, when you're not able to meet. You can't
Yeah.
shoot like you would create a usual commercial. So people are actually recording different segments, in their houses, and they're kind of stitching the video together and then
Yeah.
pushing it out there for brands. So that innovation is happening. So earlier it was difficult. You might not have the same production quality, but you're still doing it. Even during these hard times, you're still trying to push that out there. So I think the industry is evolving. Now I feel there are tons of opportunities, whether it's in corporate communications or in content marketing. I mean, you have networks, you have special networks just for those groups, right? There's so
Right.
many marketing groups. So, I mean, anybody who wants to get into this field, I would suggest, just boost your resume, kind of have a clear purpose, try and understand what exactly interests you, right? Where can you contribute? I think that's the main thing. And do you have that, desire to learn and grow in the field? So maybe you like writing, maybe you love marketing. So now even that is enough to a certain extent. As long as you have that desire to learn on the job, I think that's something you should still go ahead and go for it, because you have the resources out there.
Thank you so much for the insights again. I actually have two last questions for you.
So
First one is, how do you define success in a role like corporate communications? And secondly, then, what advice would you have for our viewers to be successful in corporate communications?
the first question was, how do you define success?
Yeah, for you. I mean,
Um,
for you personally, what is success in corporate communications?
right. So for me, when I look at the outcome of anything that I produce, I am, if it gets to the right people, if it gets to the right audience, and it is creating an impact in some sort of way. It could be a very tiny impact, but as long as I see that someone out there is benefiting from, a piece of content that we created or some initiative
Right.
that we started, if I can see that impact in a very measurable way, say, 50 employees got impacted in a positive way, or we can see, employees are really liking the town halls that we initiated. They are interacting with us. They are far more engaged during this lockdown period. So as long as I can see that impact, I think that gives me joy, and it keeps me motivated to, do my job.
Yeah.
It's very easy to kind of get lost in your everyday work, where you're just continuously working, but you don't really think about the benefit or the impact. So I feel that impact kind of pushes me to get better at what I do and to constantly keep doing what I do. And advice for the viewers, I would say, if you have that hunger to grow and learn, and if you're curious about the world and about people in general, then, go for it, follow your dreams. And if you want to make a transition, if you are stuck, you're at a crossroads and you're thinking about, how to make that career switch, I would say talk to people, start talking to people, as many people as you can. And don't directly ask them for a job or anything, but, just start by understanding who they are, what they like, understand their journey. How did they get to where they are currently working,
Right.
and just by looking at their journey, that will give you so many insights that something will trigger for you, something will get started, and you will realize, okay, this is something I can do in my life as well. So get curious about people is what I would say. Get curious, and just be interested to learn more about the world around you, and be proactive, and also just be hardworking. I think that's
Yeah.
the most important.
And I relate a lot with your point on building relationships because I mean, you're looking for a job or not, building those networks and building those relationships, I think is super useful. Even if you are in a particular career and you want to look at how would it look like 5 years, 10 years down the line, I think it's very, very important to reach out to those people and build that network, connect, and relationship over time, so that people can essentially just guide you on your
Yeah.
next step. Yeah. So thank you so much once again for being here and breaking down this entire transition and career path for our audience so beautifully and giving them the tips to succeed on this role. To be honest, I did not know, a lot about corporate communications or even content marketing or journalism. So it's been super insightful and helpful for me. And I hope it's the same for our audience as well. Thank you so much, Kritika. And thank you everyone for watching. Please let us know if there are any comments, any questions that you want to ask on journalism or communications, or if there is any other career path that you want to know more about. Stay tuned to Career with Kalpi. Keep safe. See you in my next video. Bye bye.